Good day, everyone. I am Andy V. Montesa, and thank you for having me here today. It's an honor to talk with you about a topic that I believe holds the key to shaping the future of our communities. We often hear about inequalities in our world, inequalities that persist across communities, economies, and social structures. But what if I told you that understanding the very nature of conflict within our society could provide us with the tools to redesign our communities for a more just and equitable future? Today, I want to explore how conflict theory can be the key to that transformation. So let's dive in. Before we proceed, we need to understand the conflict of the theory. Conflict theory was developed by the philosopher and sociologist Karl Marx, who proposed that society is built on power struggles. In simple terms, it asserts that inequality arises because some groups have more resources, influences, and power than others. Now, think about your own community. How many times have you noticed some people thriving while others struggle? This is not by accident. According to conflict theory, these disparities aren't random. They are the result of systematic power imbalances, systems that are designed to favor certain groups over others. So, what does that mean for us as we look to redesign our communities? It means we can no longer afford to ignore these imbalances. To truly design our communities, we need to understand and address the conflicts that are built into the fabric of our society. The role of conflict in community redesign. How can we use conflict theory to make a real positive change? The answer lies in acknowledging that power, who holds it, how it's used, and who's left out, is at the very root of our social issues. Think about the basic pillars of society like education, healthcare, and housing. These are not just basic human needs, they are essential to a person's well-being and future. And yet, in many communities, there are stark differences in who has access to these resources. Some individuals and families live in neighborhoods with top-tier schools, well-funded healthcare facilities, and safe, affordable housing. Others, however, are trapped in areas where schools are underfunded, healthcare is limited, and housing is unaffordable or unsafe. This disparity isn't just an coincidence. It's an accidental outcome of people making different life choices. It's a direct result of power structures that control and distribute resources unequally. For instance, who decides where schools are built and how they're funded? Who controls the healthcare policies and who gets insured? Who profits from housing resources more equitable? Policies that shift power away from the few and place it into the hands of the many. For example, we can push for progressive taxation that ensures that the wealthy pay their fair share of universal health care. That provides coverage for all people, regardless of income. We can support policies that demand affordable housing, ensuring that no one is forced to live in unsafe or substandard conditions simply because they can't afford better. Conflict theory also encourages us to challenge the system themselves, not just the outcomes they produce. It calls for a deep structural change that addresses the root causes of inequality. It's not just about making small tweaks or offering temporary reliefs. It's about rethinking the entire structure of our society and how power is distributed. We can also empower marginalized communities to stand up and demand their rights. This could mean organizing local community groups, supporting grassroots movement, or advocating for policies that give marginalized people a stronger voice in decision-making processes. When we recognize the dynamics of power and inequalities that shape our society, we realize that we're not just fighting for fairness, we're fighting for access to opportunities for all people. Everyone should have the chance to thrive regardless of their background, income, or social status. By applying conflict theory to our understanding of social issues, we can dismantle systems of oppression and work towards creating communities where everyone has an equal chance to succeed. Real world examples of conflict theory in action. You might be wondering, does this actually work in real life? And the answer is yes. Conflict theory is not just an academic concept, it's been a driving force behind some of the most powerful social movement in history. In conclusion, to redesign our communities, we must first understand the conflicts that shape them. We must challenge the power structures that perpetuate inequality, and we must work together to create a more just and equitable future for all. The future of our communities' life lies in our hands. By embracing conflict theory, we can start to recognize and address the imbalances that hold us back. Together, we can build a future where power is shared, opportunity is equal, and justice is not just an ideal but a reality.